now. We're glad to have you along here on the Locker Room Show with Sam Jordan. Joining me remotely in a far, far away land is my good friend Nick LaFew. Good evening to you, Nick.
Good evening, Sam. How are you doing?
Not bad. Now, even though you're away, Chattanooga Eagles are going to be at home this Saturday night over at Ridgeland High School to take on one of the two teams that has beaten us so far this season in the Middle Tennessee Bulldogs. Now, we came off of a victory because I wasn't there down in Macon, Georgia, 28-6, I believe, over the Georgia Crush.
20-8.
20-8. All right. I knew there was a 2 and an 8 in there, but Georgia Crush probably wasn't as a difficult task to take care of as what you faced up against them last year, because you had to play them 3 times last year. But with Middle Tennessee, could be a little bit of a different factor at home this coming Saturday night.
Yeah, Middle Tennessee, the good news for us is that we do know a lot about them at this point because we've played them. We know what to expect. They're going to be the ones that are a little bit different, having to prepare a little bit differently. We got a different quarterback at this point. Got a few more pieces on defense that they're not used to seeing from week 2. So, we hope that those kinds of changes for us can be positive changes and hopefully kind of change that game around, because we didn't feel like the score indicated what that game was really like a few weeks ago.
Now, Middle Tennessee has added to their nucleus with a former UT standout and A.J. Johnson, who had to kind of cut his career short, and it's kind of bothered him, I guess you could say, because of some allegations that were thrown against him, with sexual misconduct allegation. But he's on the Middle Tennessee Bulldogs roster. Do you feel like that is going to be a stumbling block or a roadblock of some sorts for the Eagles to deal with?
Yeah, I think obviously AJ is gonna give us a lot of different problems that we're not used to. Obviously, in this league, you got to hope. You don't know who's going to be there week in and week out, but you really have to prepare like A.J. Johnson's going to be there, whether he will be or not. We ain't got a confirmation from Middle Tennessee, yes or no, but that's probably smart on their part. To not whether he's going to be there or whether he's not. It's probably smart because that way they can, leave us guessing on what he's going to have to do. But you got to prepare like he is going to be there. And when you have a guy that's about his size, about 6 foot 240, and runs about a 4.7 40, that's some problems.
Right.
So he's able to play the middle. You just kind of hope to God you run. If when you run the opposite way, and when you throw the opposite way.
Now, who on the Eagles is going to have the task of possibly defending him?
Well, when he's played now, when he played last week, he played outside a little bit at the linebacker position for them. So in the run game, you're going to probably see a receiver getting the block in the slot receiver. So that's a tall task for one of our little guys to have to do. But they'll be up to it. If they have to make the plays against AJ, I'm sure they'll do their best. And it's just another guy out there. That's the kind of the way you have to feel about it.
Now, I know you run multiple receiver sets and everything. Do you think that you would possibly have that on the task of Greg Rivers since he can do everything else?
Yeah. Problem is, Greg, he's going to have to line up at quarterback for us. So, we would love to have him at wide receiver against a guy like A.J. Johnson. But, you got to play your best guy at quarterback, and Greg's 2-0 at quarterback.
So that could be a C.J. Deloney task or assignment.
Yeah, it very well could be. You're going to see guys, we're going to put a lot of guys that are not afraid to hit probably against them. A guy like D. Hart Hubbard, guys that are going to block and willing to make those blocks on run plays. And then hopefully somebody on a pass play who's fast enough to just get by a little bit.
Well, right now you're going into this game with a 3-2 record and with the daunting task of having to win out the remainder of the schedule. So with this task here at hand with Middle Tennessee, and I'm sure that you talk with Coach Hayden Clark and the rest of the coaching staff quite often, how big of a challenge is this, to go up against a team that's already beat them and could set them back from making the playoffs?
Well, to be honest with you, it makes it easier. When you're not having to beat somebody a second time, it's easier to beat somebody who's already beaten you than it is to beat somebody you've already beaten, especially when we feel like talent's pretty comparable. I think, and the fact that it's at home, you always have an advantage in this type of football at home because you're going to have more players, you're going to have more depth. Traveling is hard on these teams, albeit that just from Nashville, it's still traveling. It's tough to get guys to go. The guys have jobs and all that kind of stuff. So you always have an upper hand when you're at home, depth-wise. So I think we feel pretty good about our chances Saturday. But you got to go one game at a time, and you got to just, make sure that you play your game, because I feel like that's where we messed up. A few weeks ago in week 2 was we didn't play our game against Middle Tennessee, and that's where we ended up getting kind of blown out a little bit towards the end, was because of that right there. We didn't play our football game.
I mean, for the most part, the three of us were there for the broadcast, Keon and yourself and myself as well. It seemed like we stayed up there with them, but for the most part, until we gave away a couple big plays, and then the daunting task of trying to come back, and we almost did. We were like one possession away of possibly tying it up and everything, but, it just, we can't wait too long. We need to go out there and go for the jugular from the start, it seems like.
For sure. The things that killed us in the games that we've lost this year, the 2 games we lost, were big plays on the defensive side of football, giving up big plays. We've trimmed those down a ton in the games that we've won. Our defense, I trust our defense to be able to make a stop when they're not giving up big plays. You're not going to be able to nickel and dime us to death. You're not going to be able to do that. Middle Tennessee is now on their backup quarterback as well due to an injury to their starter. We expect kind of a slugfest, to be honest with you, and I wouldn't be surprised to see us try to control the game on the ground again. And that's the way we win ball games lately, is just ground and pound and hit them over the top with some big plays when they're loaded in the box. So, hopefully I feel like that's probably going to be our game plan going in Saturday. And obviously, I'm kind of out of the coaching loop at this point in my career with the Eagles, but I feel like knowing Hayden, that's got to be the idea.
Now, here's a burning question for you, Nick. Have you been in contact with Courtney Braswell lately?
I have not talked to him in a couple of weeks. Obviously, I'll get to spend some good time with him on Saturday. But
here's the reason why I'm asking that. If you haven't talked to him in a couple of weeks, you probably should have told him not to cut the grass and to make sure that the hash marks were no longer on the field.
Yeah, Tennessee would probably feel right at home.
Yeah.
They've played I think 2 or 3 home games at this point in the year and played at a different high school every time. So, they're used to being all over the place. So they're gonna be able to come here and play on a good field. I just think I think anytime you're at home, you have an advantage in this type of a league.
Now, I know that you guys have been posting on Facebook, about, coming out, supporting the Eagles and everything. But, this is a big game, and you really could use the fan support out there to really get behind and rally behind the Eagles. How true is that?
this is it. I mean, this is it for us. You know, we're not guaranteed another home game at this point. You know, this is our last home game of the year, regular season finale, against one of the best teams in the GDFL. And, you know, there's a lot of good football in the area this weekend. You know, IFL has their championship game and their all-star game on Saturday at Finley Stadium. And they'll be doing a doubleheader. They'll do their all-star game around 2 o'clock and then their championship game later that night. And, you know, obviously Riverbend's going on this weekend as well, the last night of Riverbend Saturday night, which, my goodness, I wish we could schedule around that and be on the road both times Riverbend's in town, because that kind of hurts us. But if you're wanting to catch some good football, you're going to see it, and you're going to see it Saturday night.
All right, gates open at what time?
Gates will open at 6 o'clock. $10 for adults, and any child over 10 and under, you get in for free. We will. We hope we're going to have plenty of things to drink. Obviously, knowing that the weather where it's going to be Saturday is going to be really hot, really humid. One of the hotter days of the year so far. But hopefully, with that 7:30 kickoff, you know, sun will start getting behind the stadium a little bit around 8 o'clock, and it'll be pretty nice for most of the game.
Yeah, they were saying on the news last night they could feel like around 100 degrees Saturday and Sunday both, and the highs are going to be in the mid-90s. So I'm probably going to get my real first taste of what summer is like down here in the South this coming weekend.
Definitely are.
Yeah. What else can you say about the Eagles? I mean, we've got Greg Rivers that is going to be stepping back into the role at quarterback. Are we still looking good as far as backup, or you know, with one of the previous starters, or what?
Well, Sam Caffey is still nursing an injured shoulder. He's a no-go. Colby is still kind of a game time. Colby Copeland is still kind of going to be a game time decision on Saturday, where he is. Obviously, from that injury, I know it was about 5 months ago, but you're at the point now where it was a gruesome injury, and you know you don't want to risk anything with him. But CJ is a guy that, if needed, he'll step in. CJ Deloney, and he'll be able to play quarterback. That's not going to be a problem at all for CJ. He's done it in the past for us, so not too worried about that.
All right, and then in the backfield?
In the backfield, you know, we got our stable back there. You know, we got about 6 backs who've over the last 3 games have just played really well, starting with Mike Porch and then going to Robbie Turner, Miguel Vincent, you know, Robert Cobb, Mark Fairbanks. I mean, they just keep going and going. The list just keeps going. You know, guys that hopefully we can wear the defense down and keep those guys fresh, because they've done a great job the last few weeks, and they got to keep it up. And as long as if we're able to run the football this week, I feel really good about our chances. You know, the less pressure Greg has to be under to make a lot of really good throws. You know, it's hard to be able to throw the ball well in this type of league, because you just don't have the practice time to be in sync as a quarterback and wide receiver core as much as you would at like a higher level. So you got to be able to catch. You got to be able to run the football. And when we do, we're 3-0, and when we can't, we're 0-2. So that's kind of where we are offensively.
Now, it seems like the receiving core has always been a good core of players for you. Now, even though one of those has had to step into that quarterback role with Greg Rivers and everything, you still got a slew of players that you can go to besides C.J. Deloney.
Yeah, you know, DeHart Hubbard, another big, tall guy on the outside, Drake Clark in the middle. You know, we've got a ton of options to throw the ball to. All through, you know, in all shapes and sizes. We got tall guys, we got short guys, we got slow guys, we got fast guys. You know, we got a little bit of everything out there to catch the ball. And you know, the biggest thing this year that we haven't had in the past really is we have a lot of tall guys. You know, we've had CJ and DeHart but we've added guys like Rod Watson and guys like that who are more tall, lanky receivers who are able to go up and get the ball, and that's what you need in the red zone. And that's where we struggled throwing the football in past years, and now we're feeling a lot more comfortable being able to do so down there.
Now, the offensive line, they've been holding pretty steady here over the last several weeks. Do you feel that they can still maintain that pressure in protecting Rivers and the backfield?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. You grade them out all 5 games. Offensive line might be one of, if not the best unit we've had on the field. At the beginning of the year, I wouldn't have said that before the season started, but they have really they've gelled well together. We're running about the same 5 to 7 guys, which is huge. You know, the important thing with offensive line is being cohesive, and we've been able to do that. So, you know, it's really good to be able to run those same 5 to 7 guys out there.
You know, Austin Elrod may feel a little bit differently. You know, it's like, can you give the same kind of love toward that defensive line?
I definitely will give the love to the defensive line especially after the first 2 games. They struggled those first 2 to get pressure. Since then, they've done a really good job getting pressure on the quarterback and making our secondary's lives a lot easier. And so, you know, that's important. You can't defend for 6 to 7 seconds. You can defend to 4 to 6 seconds. So you get to that 7 seconds, and it starts getting really difficult on those guys. So the pressure stepped up, and we've tried a few different looks with some different players with their hands down in the dirt that aren't normally that way. So there's going to be a lot of different looks for Middle Tennessee defensively that they didn't see week 2.
Special teams.
Special teams. I mean, we've gotten better. We're not turning the ball over, and we're not giving up big plays. Sadiq Spence and Dino Montgomery's done a good job returning kicks for us, and got some big threat down there. So that's exciting. You know, put us in good field position. I felt like we were plus 40 about every time we started on field position wise last week. So if you're starting plus 40, you're in good shape.
And as far as the kicking and punting game goes,
you know, Greg, the Swiss Army knife that is Greg Rivers, has done a great job punting, as well as playing quarterback and wide receiver and holder and everything else. So very, very proud of Greg there. And Patrick Honan, our kicker, has really solidified our kicking game that we didn't have, you know, last year, and feel like we can actually kick extra points and kick field goals and have a chance to walk away with drives with points. And instead of having to go for it on 4th down from the 20, you're able to kick the field goal and take the 3 points, which is going to be important this week.
All right, before you totally run out of air, because it sounds like you're about ready to that's it. That's all I can say. This Saturday morning, 8 to 10 a.m., the Breakfast Blitz. What's on topic for this Saturday morning?
Well,
other than the H word.
Keep hitting football. The Vols did finally get that grad transfer from Alabama from the offensive line. There's been some little changes in the NCAA, too, that's going to allow some different things to go. That'll be fun to talk about. And, of course, how can you have a sports talk and not figure out where LeBron's going this summer? So, you know, that's going to be a lot of the things that we'll be talking about in a couple of days. And hopefully, you know, everybody will listen and enjoy, eat some donuts and stuff like that while we're talking about sports.
Right. It seems like that's the busiest day of your whole week, is it?
Every week it's the busiest day. I think I get up about 6 o'clock in the morning, and road trip days I probably don't get home till about 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
So you know, it's a busy day, but I wouldn't want to do it I wouldn't want to be doing anything else.
All right. Well, as we're about ready to wrap up, I'm going to kind of let you off the hook so you can finish what you're doing. Give me a shout on my personal number, and we'll talk after the show if you don't mind.
Sounds like a plan, Sam. I'll give you a call around 8 o'clock.
All right, then. And then don't forget to join Nick this Saturday morning, 8 to 10, with the Breakfast Blitz with Nick LeFew and friends, or friend. Depends on whether Keon can get in here or not. And, you know, you never know who all is going to be on the air. Yeah. it's a TBA as far as who the friends are, but we always have a good time. And I know a lot of people said that they really enjoyed the show on Saturday. And it's like, it was almost like the concept of Friends, much about nothing, but, we just had fun talking sports. And so.
But that makes good radio when you just sit there and shoot the crap with each other.
Yeah, that's true. So we'll let you go. We'll talk to you later on, and especially Saturday morning. Have a good evening, sir.
Yeah, of course. Have a good night, Sam.
All right, bye-bye. Nick LaFew, general manager of the Chattanooga Eagles, the Gridiron Development Football League team. And, of course, he's also the host of the Breakfast Blitz every Saturday morning here on Nooga Radio 92.7 FM. We got a whole lot more coming your way, so stick around. We'll talk about more sports. I may even get Keon in here since he doesn't get to really talk sports on Thursday nights. I'll probably see if he wants to come in and talk a little bit about that. Coming up after the news at 8 o'clock, we've got two millennials talking. And that's all coming up here in
Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news now.
Chattanooga police say an elderly woman was neglected by her caretaker and left to molder unattended. Police say the woman was found filthy with cockroaches crawling over her body. Her caretaker, Erica Watson, who's 55, was arrested, charged with willful abuse or neglect of an impaired adult. The home the victim was living in was condemned by the code inspectors. Cops say a Chickamauga man, Michael Puryear, stole a $110,000 truck, took it to Chattanooga, and had it scrapped for a grand total of $128. Mr. Puryear, charged with theft over $10,000. Police say the management of the scrapping company quickly discovered the car was stolen when they checked the VIN number. Hamilton County could own another park soon. A development near Mountain Creek Road could be turned over to the county soon. The county's set to vote on the possibility next week. Nobody seems to be against the idea. Russell Stroud, Nooga Radio News Talk 92.7 Action News now.
Nooga Radio 92.7. Chattanooga weather.
Expect fair skies to continue through your nighttime. Muggy overnight, lows only near 70. For Friday, lots of sunshine returns, looking mainly dry for the next few days, and hot highs into the lower 90s. More heat, haze, and humidity through the weekend, highs 92 to 94. Tired of the pressures and hassles of car shopping? Come see what more people are making the short drive to Jackson Chevrolet Buick GMC in Lafayette or online at jacksongm.com. That's Jackson Chevy Buick GMC in Lafayette. And I'm Soren Sheep, 12 Sheep Meteorologist, Patch Report.
Nooga Radio 92.7.
I got my business up and running, and it's already expanding. I got lucky. Lucky because I found Signal Voice and Data. Signal Voice and Data can incorporate all of my business information sharing and communications seamlessly, keep my costs down, and let me work more productively with endless connectivity no matter where I might be. That's called working smart, not hard. Go to signalvoicetn.com and bring the future of communication to your business today. signalvoicetn.com.
Hey, dude, check this out. Have you ever seen one so big?
Whoa, look at the size of that.
Look at this little itty-bitty one.
Wow, that's really small.
They have them big, small, and everything in between. You'll always find the biggest variety of knives at the knife shop at Frost Cutlery in Ottawa. We're talking about over 40 brands of knives, including Benchmade, WR Case & Sons, Booker, and all the Frost Cutlery brands. Now, Sam, you've been to the cutlery shop. Is it amazing?
Spectacular. The knife shop at Frost Cutlery in Ottawa. They have knives, swords, kitchen knives, ammo, and reloading supplies, plus survival gear.
It's the knife shop at Frost Cutlery, open 7 days a week. Hey, girls, you're going to love this. We're going to the knife shop.
Hey, let's not tell them they have ammo and loading supplies.
The knife shop at Frost Cutlery opens 7 days a week. You'll always find the biggest variety of knives. You're going to love the knife shop at Frost Cutlery in Ottawa. The knife shop.
And tell them David Toulis sent you.
Do you hear that? That, my friend, is not what you're thinking. That is the new 2018 Indian Chieftain Dark Horse. Yeah, Indian. Indian motorcycle is more than a bike. It's an experience, an American icon. And Indian Motorcycle of Chattanooga is the only place you'll find their new 2018 line. Are you ready to ride? Join the club. Go to Indian Motorcycle of Chattanooga. Just look for the sign, 153 and Amnicola. Indian Motorcycle, the true American original.
Hey, Karen, you need me for that 1 o'clock?
Yes, Cheese, please. Karen, did you get the quarterlies done? Yep, they're filed in the cabinet.
Karen, can you describe the initiatives to the new hire? Thanks.
Oh, sure. Full-bodied, some floral notes, maybe a hint of dark chocolate.
Am I in the right department?
Got wine on the mind? Come unwind at Virgola. Italian wine, oysters, caviar, cheeses, and more. Perfect after work or a romantic date night. Virgola Italian Wine Bar, 608 Georgia Avenue.
Chattanooga Paint and Decorating would like to remind you it's so hot out there. And guess what? Your deck is taking a beating. It's probably starting to show wear. If you're hosting friends for the 4th, get your deck entertainment ready with a fresh coat of stain and protect it from heat, sun, and rain with a quality sealant. If you want to get to work, Chattanooga Paint and Decorating want to help you. For exterior paint, stains, sealants, and supplies, stop by Chattanooga Paint and Decorating today on Hickson Pike across from Valvoline or online at ChattanoogaPaint.com.
Nuga Radio. Are you brain dead? Still voting for pathetic liberals? Take 3 hours with Sean Hannity from 3 to 6.
Nuga Radio.
Then call us in the morning between 9 and 11.
92.7
Nuga Radio. It's the moment you've been waiting for. Sam Jordan's Nuga Radio, 92.7 Sports. Now.
For right now, because until the rest of the team is assembled for high school football, it's pretty much just us.
It's just us at the moment.
Yeah. But we should have an expanded football staff come August with the Gridiron Gang show and with the countdown to kickoff and the 5th quarter show. And of course, our high school football game of the week that we'll be offering here in the Tennessee Valley. We'll be doing 12 games in 10 weeks. Do the math. That means 2 weeks we're doing 2 games.
2 games. Wow. Yeah. Double duty.
Yeah. So that will be coming about, and we'll be releasing that schedule here real soon. And hopefully on Thursday nights when we do the Gridiron show, we'll be able to be sitting in a restaurant, partaking of the specials, taste testing.
Of course.
Yes. We've got the
one of the perks of the job.
Yeah. Well, it's not just a perk, but the in-depthness to give a good quality review,
right,
of wings or whatever. I hope
it's a service. We're doing it for you.
Yes.
I hope you appreciate our sacrifice.
Yes, and hopefully you'll come down and join in with us and watch the show. We're hoping to have a lot of the coaches and some of the players from throughout the Tennessee Valley joining in on that conversation on Thursday nights for at least an hour, maybe 2 hours. I don't know whether we can bump away the 2 millennials talking and, for 10 weeks or so.
We'll figure it out.
Maybe we'll even let Russell join in and be a part of the taste testing. Who knows?
I'm sure he'd appreciate that.
Yeah.
Russell likes food.
He loves food, especially when it's free. To him, that is.
Well, it's the best kind of food.
Yeah.
No matter who you are.
All right. We've been talking about LeBron. Okay. I know people are probably getting tired of hearing about LeBron, but that's not going to go away anytime soon.
Right.
I think he's going to milk that for at least a month or two.
Well, it just depends on what gets worked out. I think he's going to see all the teams, so that's going to take some time, obviously.
Right.
And then, I don't see any reason for him to rush it. He's going to sit and stew. And what's hilarious is the rest of the free agent market's not going to move until he does.
Right. So it's like we got to wait for King LeBron to announce where he's going to be courting his services at.
Right.
For 2018 and beyond for at least probably 3 or 4 years. And then we'll see all the other little lackeys or the pawns kind of fall into place on the chessboard of the NBA.
Right. That's what we're waiting for. He's such a big figure at this point. He's very well aware of what all of this looks like.
He's a monstrous figure, even though he's 6'5", 6'6", but I mean,
he's 6'8".
6'8", okay. But he commands the presence of everybody when you talk about NBA basketball. Years ago, you would say that was Kobe.
Yeah.
And before that, I don't know who you would say because we go back another generation of sorts, and you're talking Magic and Larry Bird and you know, those characters from.
And it was mostly Magic because Bird hated the media, really. I mean, he just wasn't a big fan of talking to people and explaining himself. Where Magic loved the media, he loved the cameras, he's got the glowing personality. LeBron doesn't have a personality like Magic's, but it is a friendly personality.
Yeah. I guess after Bird and Magic, then you had Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
I forgot about my son. I do have a son named James Michael Jordan. He's my oldest twin son. He wasn't named after the father of Michael Jordan, which is James Jordan, who got murdered, if you remember.
Right.
And Michael, of course, being Michael. It was named after my doctor that delivered my twin sons, James, Michael, and Samuel III.
Have you seen that ESPN commercial where the guy named Michael Jordan shows up everywhere and people are disappointed to see him? He shows up and they've got the champagne, and the moment they realize it's not that Michael Jordan, they take the champagne back into the room.
It's pretty sad, but yeah.
I think that's one thing about being named LeBron. There's not too many people. I actually do know a couple of people named LeBron, but not enough, and certainly no one named LeBron James specifically.
Right. I other than LeBron James, I don't know of any other LeBrons that are out there. But how can you live up to all that hype? That has to be a tremendous task of trying to do that. I mean, my son, my youngest twin son, Samuel III, I mean, trying to live up to all the hype, you know, of Sam Jordan like me, you know, it's got to be. That's why he moved to Arizona.
So not to compete.
So he's not competing.
Not compete.
And then the Bird texted me last night. He's leaving Phoenix and he's going to Australia for the rest of the week. And I thought, wow, you know, to have a job like he does with American Airways and gets to go to places that, you know, you only dream about. And I guess after he's done with Australia, he's supposed to go to Germany or someplace. And he said, I'm definitely going to be trying out all the different beers and stuff in Germany. It's like, you go, son.
There you go.
But it's like, you know, you only wish the best for your children.
Right.
And, you know, fortunately, my four oldest have done very well for themselves. They're not in radio or broadcasting, so they're definitely making more money.
Yeah, so they've really done well.
They've really done well for themselves. Yeah, I really held out a lot of hope for my one son to follow me in the broadcasting realm, but it's like so far, maybe Matt, the one that just graduated, might. But and I thought Turkey, my third son, whose birthday is coming up in August, his birthday is 8/9/89. I thought he would have been the one that would have followed the old man's footsteps, but nah, he's making a very good amount of money working in a mailroom, not for the Postal Service, but for a company that does customer service related stuff. And it's like, how do you make over $20 an hour and work in a mailroom?
I have no idea.
Well, he does. Well, and it's like, you know, I'm very proud of my son.
Again.
But working in a mailroom for 8 hours a day.
The two of us with the wrong line of work. That's really what it is. I told my mom that I wanted to get into radio, and she said, why would you want to do a thing like that?
Yeah.
And I should have listened. I should have, but, you know.
I should have listened to my mom.
I'm stubborn, so here we are.
But, you know, it's just one of those things. We love what we do. We love talking about sports. You know, we love painting that picture. And that's one of the things that's helped me over my 38 years. And listening to the great voices of the game like Jack Buck and, you know, Eli Gold and others, Harry Carey, Harry Callis, Vin Scully. Right. I know a lot of those are baseball names that some people may remember.
There was a time when the baseball guys ruled supreme, though.
Yeah.
I mean, when baseball was more popular in this country, those guys were the kings.
Growing up in the 60s and 70s and even to the early to mid 80s, you know, that was my childhood. And those were the voices that I, you know, grew up with. And Pat Summerall, you know, was another one of those great voices. And, you know, a lot of them have went on to greater rewards out there, but it's like, you know, I've said this a lot off the air, you know, Keon, I really think in a couple years, I think you could be graduating yourself up to a bigger market than Chattanooga. And that's why I'm trying to give you some of the tools that I've learned over the years and giving you that opportunity with play-by-play. And for our boss, who does not like sports at all, and it's like he was like amazed with your play-by-play that you've been doing the last couple of weeks. And it's like, that's a huge compliment coming from him. And it's like, so, I know that my career in doing sports probably coming to a close and maybe in the next 12 years or so. I'd like to make the 50. August will be 38. And if I can make it to 50 years in doing sports, that will be a great thing for me. And I mean, I've had a lot of great opportunities on a national level as well as on a regional and local basis. And, I know I still got a lot of people up in the Northeast that say, every once in a while on a Facebook post, we miss hearing you, doing the games up here. And so hopefully people will be saying that about Mr. Keon Rose. And it's like one of these days we'll be seeing you on TV and it's like, I remember when he was in Chattanooga, kind of thing. But, but sports and broadcasting go hand in hand for both of us. And we really enjoy our crafts and we hope that you do. And hopefully Saturday night we'll be able to paint that picture again on another canvas and hopefully with the Eagles beating the Bulldogs.
Yeah, getting revenge for earlier in the season.
So now talking about revenge, I'm shifting here. There's a overnight sports host on Fox Sports Radio, Ben Mahler. Evidently, you're always trying to come up with topics to talk about because, you can't keep talking about the same thing. Like sometimes what we hear with some of our national talk show hosts, here on the station where they're beating the same drum over and over. But Ben Mahler evidently raised the ire of Deshaun Watson, the quarterback for the Houston Texans. Now, let me read you I think it would be a tweet. Deshaun Watson ain't going to be around for very long. He's going to be destroyed and obliterated again because his body can't handle the rigors of the NFL. And basically said the Texans should look to draft a quarterback soon. Well, I mean, Deshaun Watson has been in the league, maybe 3 years?
No.
2 years?
Last year was his rookie season.
Oh, it was his rookie season. All
yeah.
Right. I was thinking he had a couple years under his belt.
He played like it.
Yeah. And it's like, Watson. Well, let me just say this. Houston hasn't had a decent quarterback in quite some time. I would say maybe 5-6 years.
Yeah.
Because, what's his name that ended up, he went to Denver, I think, as a backup, and he might have played some backup in Cleveland or.
Yeah, Brock Osweiler was a backup in Denver.
Right.
They drafted him before they.
But Carr, they had.
David Carr.
David Carr.
Yeah, he got bludgeoned to death. They drafted him in 2000 when they were coming in as an expansion team.
Right. So I mean, really, that was the last time with David Carr. I think they had a decent quarterback.
Yeah, they just didn't. They were an expansion team. They didn't have the offensive line. Right. And so Carr just, I think that he was a good quarterback that could have been great that got beaten up and then got gun shy and just couldn't play the game. And then I thought Matt Schaub, there was like a 2-3 year stretch where Matt Schaub was pretty solid. Kyle Shanahan, I think, was there. And yeah, that system worked perfectly for Schaub and he could really not play in any other system. And so once the coordinator left, Matt Schaub got a bit exposed, and that was the end of that. But yeah, not too many great quarterbacks for the Houston Texans.
And I think Osweiler kind of jumped the gun a little bit. I mean, yeah, he had a great finish up in Denver. And it was like, all right, let's test the free agent waters. And Houston was like glad to get him.
Yeah, I mean, granted, this is a guy that played 3 games.
Right.
So you have to take a risk in the NFL. Quarterback is so important of a position.
Yeah, but I don't think he was worth all that.
No, he wasn't. They paid him $72 million. That was a mistake.
And it's like Deshaun Watson, I think coming out of college, I think it made a good fit, but he probably needed to have a little bit of a nurturing, learning the NFL setup instead of just going in there blind as can be and trying to perform and not really have the line to protect him or give him the ample time that he needed to get the play out.
Deshaun Watson?
Yeah.
I thought Deshaun Watson played brilliantly when he got to play. It was because they had to throw him in there because
there was nobody else.
Yeah, Tom Savage was the starter to start the season, and that experiment ended so poorly so fast.
Yeah,
they just threw him in there. And the thing that's crazy is when they threw him in there, he immediately an instant impact player. I mean, he had some great games. He had that great game against the Chiefs. Was it the Packers they played?
I think it was the Packers that he actually shined, and it was like, where did he come from?
Yeah, I mean, he played 6 games last season, and he was brilliant in all of them before tearing the ACL.
Right.
And so after all of that promise, the idea that you draft another quarterback, of course Deshaun Watson's mad at Ben Mahler. Of course he is.
Yeah. But, he's not a Dak Prescott or Jared Goff or
I think he's better than Prescott. And
really?
Yeah. I mean, Dak Prescott to me is, well, personally, I think Dak Prescott's overrated. And I say that because of how great Ezekiel Elliott is.
Yeah.
So it's really because I love Dak Prescott in college. Like I actually talked about him way more. I would talk about Mississippi State for no reason, just to bring up reasons to talk about Dak Prescott.
Okay.
But without Ezekiel Elliott playing last year with the suspension, he regressed quite a bit. And so that is where my feeling on Dak Prescott came. I think that most of that offense is Ezekiel Elliott. And if Ezekiel Elliott is playing and playing well, Dak's going to play well. But the key to that offense is actually Zeke. And Jared Goff, I think a lot of that has to do with the coaching change and getting someone who's competent at coaching an offense. Deshaun Watson came in immediately and was just, people thought, well, Watson's not going to be able to play. Is he going to be able to learn this complicated Bill O'Brien system? And they were averaging 40 points a game for the first 4 games that he played. I mean, he's every bit as talented, but he is smaller.
Right.
And I think that Ben Maller does have a point there, is that his body is smaller than those other guys.
Yeah. Well, what's going to be interesting, I saw yesterday, I think it was, Christian Hackenberg got released by the Jets. You know what I think could happen? The next stop for Hackenberg? I don't think he's done. You know where I think he'll be going?
Where?
Houston. Because O'Brien was his coach at Penn State.
So here's the thing. Either the Houston thing works because O'Brien sees Hackenberg and goes, I coach this kid and I know he can play.
Right.
Or he looks at Hackenberg and he goes, I coach this kid. I wish I had better options.
But Hackenberg was good at Penn State.
He was good, but that final season, he should have left the year before because he would have been, top 5 pick probably. He left the year after, and the second year was this up and down roller coaster ride of a season where the worst of Christian Hackenberg was the worst thing you'd ever seen, but the best was glorious, and you didn't know which one you were going to get on any given Saturday.
True.
but yeah, so I don't know if O'Brien goes after Hackenberg to say, well, here's my insurance policy for Deshaun Watson, because Deshaun Watson has had 2 knee surgeries in the last 4 years, which is pretty scary.
That's more than normal.
Yeah, he had one his second year at Clemson, and then he's had the recent one after last year now too. So,
but I think Hackenberg actually did pretty decent when he was in that quarterback by committee out in Oakland, and was out there for 2, maybe 3 years. And then it was like, all right, then they cut him because Oakland was going in a different direction, and he got picked up by the Jets, which I think he hung around the Jets a little too long.
Well, he had the contract. I mean, couldn't leave. But here's the thing, too. For me, it's like I trust NFL guys to make NFL decisions. If they felt that Christian Hackenberg could play at the NFL level, wouldn't he have played at least once ever on the Jets?
Yeah.
The Jets, and McCown goes down. If they really thought he could play, my thinking is he would have played.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But, I don't think Deshaun Watson is a bad quarterback. I mean, maybe Mahler is just trying to get some ratings here,
He's just saying that Deshaun Watson is an injury-prone quarterback. He's saying that Deshaun Watson's going to be obliterated. And I don't know if that's true. I think that that's also an extreme, just exaggerating this idea that, he has suffered the knee injuries, but he's a dynamic player throwing the ball too.
Right. But the thing is, there's not a lot of good quarterbacks that are coming out of the college ranks like you would expect. I mean, to have, 10 to 12 good quarterbacks. And it seems like the real good quarterbacks over the last 15, 20 years have been coming from a Division II type school or FCS schools.
Well, FCS schools tend to, the top ones, tend to go and play in a pro-style offense. So you have guys coming into the league that are ready. You don't have guys coming into the league that are ready because for whatever reason, your FBS schools play spread offenses.
Right.
And I think plenty of these quarterbacks could be good, but you need to have the patience to let them become pro-style quarterbacks. And
Carson Wentz is another great example coming from South Dakota State or South Dakota. And it's like, he has done well. He led the Eagles to a Super Bowl, even though Foles had to come in there and finish out the rest of the season and Super Bowl. But Foles also came from an FCS school as well. So
he went to Arizona, I believe.
Well, they may as well be an FCS.
Right. Well, okay, fair enough.
In football. But, it's like not a name that you hear on the national stage.
Sure. Yeah. I hear that.
But and in Prescott, I mean, even though Mississippi State's in the SEC, isn't known for producing quarterbacks.
Yeah, and he's not a pro style guy either.
No.
He just is. Some guys pick up the game quickly.
Right.
Some guys don't.
And it's like, even with Tennessee, with the quarterback situation, this guy with Kellen Christ, coming from Stanford, and Garetano. I mean, those aren't household names that you hear as quarterbacks. Two millennials talking coming up. This guy right here, Keanu Rose, Russell Stroud coming up next. I think Russell's sleeping back there. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. Have a great one and be safe.